So now we are going to move on to Curt Wilson, and he's going to talk to us about the Carbondale coronavirus response effort. Whoops, I accidentally muted you. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Am I coming through okay?
Yes.
So I will say before I start, my home internet sometimes drops, so there may be a very short outage. I will do my best. Everybody just think good thoughts towards my home internet, and hopefully this won't drop. Amy, thank you for having me here. I'm glad to present about some of the work that myself and a variety of other people, including some people on this call and other community people, have come together to provide for people in need at this very interesting time that is filled with potential. So I'm going to go to some slides here. Just one second here. Are people seeing the slides? Are the slides coming through?
Yes.
Great. Okay, thank you. So this is about the Carbondale Corona response, which is basically conceived to be a mutual aid network. I'll also talk a little bit about mutual aid and horizontal relations as theories, which most of you probably already know, so I might breeze through that. And then the most interesting thing to me that I've been working on for about a month is the Free Aid Care Team Hotline, FACT. Here's my contact information. A lot of you know me already. Feel free to get hold of me in any way you see fit. And I want to go to the next slide. How come that's not working? There we go. Okay. Connection check. People still hearing me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, mutual aid. So Peter Kropotkin wrote a book back in 1902, Mutual Aid, A Factor of Evolution. Peter was a very interesting fellow that I would have loved to have known. He was a naturalist, anarchist philosopher, and he looked at mutual aid, mutually beneficial cooperation and people working together in the animal kingdom and human societies. And one thing I really appreciate about the concept of mutual aid is that it takes away economic and capitalist hierarchies that would have people's human rights be taken away due to a lack of money, which I think is inhumane, and that we as a species of humanity, we can do better. We need to evolve past that. So going to our wonderful source of Wikipedia, mutual aid, a voluntary exchange of resources and services for mutual benefit. So COVID-19 has provided people all over the world to the opportunity to come together to provide mutual aid to one another. There's a lot of mutual aid stuff happening in Carbondale, a lot of informal mutual aid happening in terms of small pods, small groups of people that could be conceived of as an affinity group, or perhaps families or a neighborhood cluster of homes. People coming together to provide things that are needed, whether that be medicine, food sharing, the exchange of personal protective equipment, PPE, masks, gloves, food drop-offs, medicines, what have you. And I know from talking with my partner, Carrie Vine, who works for the Jackson County Health Department, that the Jackson County has noticed that many people in the community have really stepped up and are providing a lot of mutual aid to one another just naturally. And this is beautiful. This is inherent in us as people, and to bring it out and to provide some structure and framework for it is the intent of the Carbondale Corona response. Talk just a little bit about horizontal relations. Pretty much every one of us is used to, the non-horizontal relationships that are common everywhere in this capitalist world. You've got the president on top and people beneath them, and other types of scenarios where you have an authority figure. And obviously there are different types of organizational structures that may meet certain needs at certain times. For the sake of this project and for the sake of many projects that I like to engage in, I really like horizontal relationships, which means you're all working together, you're collaborating. There may be someone that is a point person, but it doesn't mean that they're above you. You are all working in collaboration together, horizontal relationships. There's a lot more that can be said about these things, but for the sake of this presentation, I'm just going to say that it's a philosophy that I really believe in. Mutual aid and horizontal relationships are ways of working together at the community level to provide empowerment for the community, to provide people to work together, and to throw off the yoke of oppression that often comes in through capitalist interests, especially when those capitalist interests are intending to take away people's human rights, such as access to clean air and water, access, what I would like to think, access to housing, and this sort of thing. So a little bit more about this action, this group, this Carbondale Corona response was inspired by Carbondale Spring. I am a member of Carbondale Spring, and one of the 4 initiatives of Carbondale Spring is the Care Workers Initiative. And I'm not going to go much into Carbondale Spring itself. There is a website, carbondalespring.org, that talks about the different initiatives and provides videos and other resources for individuals that are interested in plugging in to a project that is working on autonomy at the local level. And I think there's a lot of really great people trying to do good things and that are already doing good things through Carbondale Spring. I encourage you all to check it out. So this is an interesting quote. Not a quote. This little bit came from a grant proposal for the Carbondale Spring Care Workers, and it's cut off on my screen, so y'all can read it if you like. But basically, it's talking about the different types of services that the Carbondale Care Worker team is intended to bring together. So including rapid response mental health crisis team, a community-based gun violence reduction program, which we desperately need, not just us. And there have been gun violence reduction programs implemented elsewhere, and they can work if people can invest the time and the resources into it. And it really involves meeting human needs. And that's what this movement is about. That's what the Care Workers Initiative is about. The third one is the construction of community networks of trained volunteers to spread tools for conflict resolution and mutual aid among neighbors. And that's one of my favorite phrases right there, mutual aid. So check out carbondalespring.org if you have further interest in this. This is an inspiration, and this project is basically associated with Carbondale Spring and inspired by Carbondale Spring. So one of the most interesting things that I wanted to talk about that I've been working on for the past month, myself and a variety of other people, is a Slack server that I put up. Originally, Nick, who's on the call, had the inspiration to set up a Slack server, and since I'm kind of a computer nerd, I set up a Slack server, carbondalecorona.slack.com. And here's an invite link for you. It's a shortened link. The link originally is messy and it's hard to remember, but tiny.cc, Carbondale Corona response. Capital letters, no spaces. So this is a link to get into the Slack server, and the Slack server, it provides an opportunity for people to collaborate, horizontal collaboration and mutual aid with one another. There is no leader, there is no centralized authority figure on this server. It is an opportunity for anyone that's interested and anyone that cares about our community to come together and work together. And there are many other opportunities for this. There are lots of Facebook groups, there are messenger groups, there are signal threads. There are a lot of different ways that people are working together. This is just another one that you all are welcome to join. And Slack also gave us free access to some extra features because we were working on a mutual aid project related to Corona. Check, am I still coming through? Check 1, 2, 3.
Yep, you're good.
Wonderful. All right, this is great. This is an example of what the Slack server looks like. This was taken from just a screenshot I took today as I was rapidly putting my slides together. Nothing like last minute to get your slides top quality, of course. So this is just what Slack looks like for those that have not used it. It is fairly popular. It's probably not quite as easy to use as Facebook or some other applications, but I've been using it for some years. And I'm just emphasizing here that the Slack server is a mutual aid network for all of us, and all of us are part of it. There is no leader. I'm a facilitator and I'm an admin on the server, but there is no leader. This is all of us. This is distributed. Come join. Please join, collaborate. And I'll go into a little bit more. This is an example of the main pane. These are the types of messages that you will see. And there are 126 different people that have joined the Slack server. Now, not all of those folks are active. Different people have different projects over time, and some people, for their own mental health, have unplugged for a time. They may come back in. They're absolutely welcome to come back in. So 126 people are not active all at once. However, we have attracted a sizable response amongst individuals that are interested in this level of collaboration. Now, I'm aware that there are a variety of Facebook groups that also serve the area, as well as various other social media sites that people are using within their neighborhoods. This is great. Utilizing the technology to serve individuals and to help individuals meet their needs for mutual aid is a win. This is an example of the channels that are available currently on the Slack server. Anyone can make a channel. I only made a few of these channels myself. Some of them are locked, as you can see by the little lock. Like the Hotline channel is used for people that are involved in the Hotline project. And that's locked down because we want to try to keep it focused. And the rest of the channels were either created by Nick or myself. And there are a variety of different resources being provided there, a variety of people that are interested in the topic. Some of the channels are more active than others. Nonetheless, this is an opportunity for you and others that care locally to get involved and to share and collaborate and work together in a united way. So the most interesting part of the work that I've been doing for the last month with a variety of other wonderful, caring people, we've been working on a hotline that just went live about an hour and a half ago. It's called the Free Aid Care Team, FACT. This is a hotline. It's intended to serve Carbondale only for now. The phone number is not a Carbondale number because it's a technical phone system that I had to get set up. So the number shows up as East St. Louis, but it's a Carbondale phone number, 618-261-3228, which spells FACT. So we're operational as of today. And the coordinators are Sienna Welazek, who's on the call. She just joined me recently and has provided invaluable assistance. And then myself. And this initiative is staffed by wonderful people who care. Too many to list. So basically how this works. So we've got the hotline number. No one is currently paid. Everything here is pure volunteer mutual aid scenario. There are some out-of-pocket costs that I'm covering personally. If things grow and expand, and if this offering turns out to be useful and extends into the future, I'm likely to seek some sort of funding source or donation. But for right now, this is all considered free. I do want to position this as a hotline of last resort. This is not someone calling up and go, hey man, I need some beer, no thanks, have your buddy next door get you some beer or whatever. But if you need food, if you need medicine, if you need foundational things that will help you with your life and things that are important to you, we can try to help as much as we can. So we've got two basic parts. In addition to the administrative staff, we've got hotline staff that are answering calls from what we're calling a person in need or a PIN. The hotline staff will coordinate with a runner or a person that's on the ground. And the runners, I appreciate everybody involved in this project, but the runners especially have my deepest gratitude because they're willing to go out there into the world and take personal risk upon themselves to help other people in the spirit of mutual aid. And this is beautiful, and we need a lot more of this. The runners have also been given training in PPE, personal protective equipment. And my appreciation to Maddie, who's not on the call, I don't think, for providing that training and material. So this is basically a page from the intake form, a little bit about kind of where we're going with this. And this was developed, I'm not actually sure who put this together initially. It may have been Nick, it may have been Dan. Sienna may have edited it. I'm not sure. Dawn may have worked on it. I don't know who did this exactly, but I'm grateful for it. So we talk a little bit about mutual aid. And there are a number of other hotlines and services, and we have a documentation about all of those. For example, if someone calls in and they're over 60, then the Shawnee Alliance for Seniors can provide resources to those folks, and they are definitely more well-funded than we are. So our focus is helping people that don't have a support network to self-isolate by providing drop-offs, shopping, and other types of miscellaneous sort of errand running and whatnot, and helping connect those people to a support network in their neighborhood. So this is important. We basically divided Carbondale up into a grid, and we've got people that are living in different areas of the grid. And when the caller comes in, we're going to figure out where they're at, and we're going to assign a runner basically that's closest to the caller. So this will provide some resources, and we're also going to provide the opportunity for the caller, the person in need, to plug into this. After some vetting, that person in need, maybe they have nothing to do. Maybe they've lost their job and they're sitting at home and they're bored and they're sitting there and they're looking at their cat and they love their cat, but they're tired of looking at their cat. Maybe they can take calls on the hotline and they can coordinate with the runners and they can help out other people in need. So in this way, the initiative is designed to help link people together in a mutual aid network that will provide horizontal relations to meet true human needs that are not so stained with the aspects of capitalism and greed that we're unfortunately seeing as rampant in our world at this time. So mutual aid, working together. So one thing that's important to say, well, we are not a medical group. We are just a grassroots people, people that care. And the form is intended to provide basic information. We don't collect any protected health information. So we're going to make sure to avoid any HIPAA violations. But our aim is to connect neighbors to meet this challenge together through our hotline. And if we can get neighbors working together, that's a great thing. So I want to offer my sincere gratitude for all that have helped this project. Please contact me if you want to get involved. And we're learning as we go. Like at the moment, there seems to be a bug with the phone system. It doesn't appear to be ringing everybody. So as soon as I get off this call, I'm going to fix that. And then I want to give my gratitude to Mutual Aid Disaster Relief, an excellent organization, a 501c3 that is doing great work. There's a Chicago contact that my comrade Maddie got me in touch with, who has had some experience running a hotline or working with other people from Mutual Aid Disaster Relief that are running a hotline. I want to thank Dawn, and Nick, Carbondale Spring, Maddie, Dan, and everybody else. There were too many to name, but you're all important. I treasure you, and I appreciate you coming together to work on this project. So that's basically it for the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and end I'll leave this up for a moment. If we have any questions or discussion, I'd be happy to take whatever time we have left to do that.
Questions, anyone? Okay. Is that a question? All right, we're gonna have a breakout for that at 3. Thank you very much, Curt.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for being involved.